Hey, GLP-1 plus sides community. Before we jump into the podcast, please take the time to leave us a 5-star review on whatever audio platform you're listening to the podcast on. Share your story and how the podcast has helped you. This will help us get referred up in the audio platform so that we can reach more people that need our help, our support, and guidance from our doctors. Help us get loud and change things. Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, wegovy, and Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together, because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault. Hey everyone, before we dive in, I really want to share something personal with you. About, I want to say like 8 to 10 months ago, after losing 100 pounds on GLP-1s and keeping it off for a long time, I started regaining out of nowhere, and I was terrified. But I also started having hot flashes and bouts of crying and snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. unable to go back to sleep. It turns out I was in perimenopause. So I started hormone replacement therapy, which is also called HRT, through a telehealth called Winona that specializes in this. And it changed everything. And now I'm sleeping better and my hot flashes are all but gone, thank God. And I feel like myself again. And it turns out that you can actually start perimenopause as early as 35. And well, I'm 46 and she's here. HRT has really come a long way and there's just no need to suffer anymore. So if you're like this and you're in the same boat, you can check out buywinona.com and you can use the link in our link tree to save some money.
Want the fastest working GLP-1? For half the price, Ro now offers FDA-approved weight loss injections cheaper. With results you can see faster. Lose 15% of your weight with the formula from Eli Lilly that hits not one, but 2 hormones to curb hunger and nausea. Weight loss faster. Confidence higher. Price cheaper. See if you qualify at ro.co/TV.
Welcome
to the Plus Sides Podcast. I'm your host, Kim, and this is Kat.
Hey.
What was
in
that?
honor of our last episode, flailing.
That's our flailing arms when we're flailing. That is for sure. How are things going with you?
Great.
Yeah.
I got good light today.
You do good
finally.
Light. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess industry secret. You film in front of an open window on a sunny day and you got perfect lighting.
See, out of way. However, it is 4:30 in Atlanta and it will be getting dark soon. So
yeah, I got lights.
That's okay. Awesome. Well, today, a little bit of a change, but because we are getting hundreds of people that don't know us that are watching kind of whatever first episode comes up, we're going to do quick intros. So this is your cue. If you already know us and you're sick of our faces, we are going to talk about who we are, what we do. You can click on fast forward and this is your cue. Don't complain. All right. So I'm Kim. This is the Plus Sides Podcast. We are a global podcast and big in a lot of other countries as well for a medical podcast. We're in the top 1.5% of podcasts globally. And we talk about the disease of obesity and type 2 diabetes and the latest treatments that are available. Our goal is to give voice to a marginalized community so they can share their stories. And so we can work towards healing. I do have a dog that barks randomly. You're going to hear it. Her name's Dixie. She's a pain. Sometimes she's the mascot. And that's what she's doing right now. And anyway, so that's what we do here. And then on top of that, we really focus on moving the head, and where we bring on doctors and practitioners, but preferably doctors that are specialists in the area of obesity and how these medications work, and chronic weight management, and to talk about this as the disease that it is, and to talk about why we are worthy of that, okay, and how they work. Because I think Kat and I have learned a lot on this journey. You're going to lose, unfortunately, access at some point. Right? And when that happens, you need to be able to advocate for yourself. And the best way to be able to do that is to have knowledge of how these medications and treatments work, why they work, the kind of care that you want to get. If for some reason you have to access compound, what equals safer? What should you look out for? What questions should you ask? And how do you say, no, like, I know about this and understand your disease, right? This is all really important stuff. And that's what we focus on here. Plus, we try to have a good time. That's where Kat comes in, because I'm not as fun. Kat's the fun one. She's the extrovert.
I'm the fun aunt.
The fun aunt. Fun aunt Kat.
It's like what the candle says. The candle that says fun aunt. It smells like wine breath and inappropriate conversation.
What would we do without Kat, friends? I don't know. So that's my spiel of who we are and what we do. We are so glad to have you here.
Let's get started.
Watch Rosie O'Donnell's episode. It is on episode 13. It's excellent. I want to tell people because it's a way back now. Go watch it. It's great. Talks all about Mounjaro. It's fantastic. Go watch it. All right, Kat. Enough of my shield. What's yours?
Well, you didn't talk about, like, hey, Kim lost 110 pounds.
I have lost
the MJs and the Ozempics and the Saxendas.
I'm up 10 pounds. This is just my life. Like, this is, I think, what made
perimenopause.
Yeah, perimenopause. Sorry. There's a chance I'm salty about this whole situation.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
I got it.
I'm Kat Carter. That way. On the TikToks. Kat Carter. I lost 70 pounds, give or take, sometimes 60, sometimes 70, because I'm also in the peri. I like to work out. And right now I'm working on getting to my 1,000th ride at my cycle bar. Today I did 728 was my ride number.
Yeah.
Going to get there before the year is over.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it, Kat. We're so glad to have you. Kat's background is in radio, and we met years ago at the same company, and we're just kindred spirits. I don't know.
That was not in radio though. That was Career Builder.
Yeah, but I had Career Builder. We were at Career Builder for several years together. While I was there, I made a human. That was cool. And then Kat and I became good friends and have been friends for years. And when I started this, I was like, "You want to do it?" She's like, "Yeah." She's always ready to go.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, so today, our community guest couldn't make it. So we are going to just have a special doctor on to talk about things, but we have loaded up questions. I want to focus on, and actually, let me invite her in and then I'll explain some things I want to focus on so that you guys know what to prepare for. Hello, Dr. Kumar. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're so happy to have you. Before we get started, I would love if you could tell people about who you are and how you help people.
Sure. So my name's Dr. Rekha Kumar. I'm an endocrinologist, primary care doctor, and obesity medicine specialist. And how I help people is that I love to take care of the whole person. So although I'm specialized in endocrinology and obesity medicine, several years ago, I made the decision to go back into primary care, which was a decision that some people thought was unusual. But I realized that in order to take care of somebody's metabolism, their weight, and their hormones, I really couldn't separate it from the overall care of the person. Yeah. And so I happened to do both together. And although some people would say, well, that sounds difficult or like you're doing many things at once, I actually think it's easier because I can put everything together about a person and understand it as a whole.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And then in addition to the practice, I'm head of medical affairs at Found Health, which is a telehealth platform that does metabolic health and weight care.
That's awesome. I love that. I think that it's really cool that you kind of went a little, what people would see as backwards. I would argue it's forwards.
I think so too.
I'm just saying it's pretty innovative.
Thank you.
Because PCPs don't know. right? Like they don't. And we know we've had many on the show that have kind of transitioned, right? And they're like, nah, like literally the education that we got in medical school around obesity was don't let your patients get obese. Like that was
Yeah.
they need to eat right. They need to exercise. Don't let them get there because they're going to get heart disease. They're going to diabetes. And stop it. Have them
Yeah.
stop it. Like that was the directive, you know? And so I think that there's some systemic stuff there, right? And I think that we're still kind of trying to flush that out because we've got a lot of weight bias, I think, around that in medicine and outside of medicine as well. So we'd love to talk with you, of course, about that today. And I definitely want to talk about your practice and what that experience is like. I will tell you that this is bizarre. So I do this full time. So like I do influencing, I don't know what you call it. It feels bizarre to say that with the podcast and stuff. But my background is in marketing. So I focus a lot on kind of furthering this movement. I would say that's the majority of my focus. But I will tell you that when my sister described to her friends recently what I do when she was introducing me, she called me an Ozempic influencer. And I was like, and the reason I said that is because there are people that are Ozempic influencers, and I would say that they handle things very differently. And,
Agreed.
you know what I mean? And I think that this is just very different. I consider myself a health advocate. I consider Kat a health advocate. We are now, as we've gone through our journey, Kat and I are really learning that this is just the beginning, because we're going through perimenopause and soon menopause, and we're going to have many other health conditions and things in our life because ultimately our bodies are going to a stopping point. Like that's where we're at, So we like to talk about everything, right? From issues with hormones to issues that we may experience having obesity. Like what has it done to our body? Are there treatments to help with those things, right? That could be from, veins, right? That could be from skin removal. Like we really are trying to talk about it full circle as much as possible. So we're excited to have you here. So let's go back to the beginning of Found. So could you sort of talk to us a little bit about that? Kat and I mentioned kind of in the beginning when we were warming up with you, that with Found, we saw it from the beginning of TikTok. And there were not a bunch of telehealths on TikTok in the beginning in summer 2022. So is Found one of the first telehealths that were focusing on weight management? Quick pause here. I've had moments on my GLP-1 journey where insurance changes or rising costs force me to look for a new provider. And honestly, that process can feel very overwhelming. But that's why the Plus Sides podcast has partnered with GLP Winner to give our subscribers a resource to help them make that decision easier. GLP Winner is a comparison platform that lets you explore telehealth providers in all 50 states, whether you're looking for brand name medications or compounded options. You can see pricing up front, read reviews, and get a clear picture of which provider might align best with your needs. Check it out today at glpwinner.com/plus-sides. That's glpwinner.com/plus-sides. Don't forget the Z. Let me tell you a quick story. I was telling Kat how I was regaining weight after my 100-pound loss using GLP-1 medications, and I was having snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m., and I had hot flashes, and I was worried. But Kat was like, listen, I went through this last year. It's perimenopause, and I started HRT, and she used this company called Winona. So I started going there to see if this was something that was going with me. Turns out it was, because I'm 46. And it's been amazing. It's taken a while to find the right dose, but once I did, it's just been huge. I've been sleeping. I feel more myself again. And the hot flashes are gone, which is, really bad. So I will tell you, it's just been so big for me. And so I wanted to partner with them on the podcast because obviously many of our listeners are going through this same age range and definitely are having these issues. And there's just no need for you to suffer. So if you go to the link that's in our link tree, you can click on that and save money. If you go there and you meet all the criteria, this might be something for you to try. So I just want to make sure you had this great resource because it's just been such a big difference for me and Kat. Again, you can go to the link in our link tree and get what you need.
20 seconds a week to lose 20% of your weight in a year with diet and exercise. That's the power of GLP-1s through Ro. Ro helps find the medication that's right for you, based on cost, availability, and your weight loss goals. Losing weight with GLP-1s is possible through Ro.
Yeah. So Found actually was founded in 2018, 2019.
Oh, wow.
So probably even before you saw or heard of it on TikTok, there were really only two consumer weight companies back then.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it on Facebook ads, like before COVID, I think. Was it Found?
Yeah, definitely before COVID. So Found existed before COVID and before the GLP-1 craze. And I'd say when we started, we actually weren't prescribing GLP-1s. We were prescribing older generic medicines. And at the time, I'd say our biggest competitor was Calibrate that was doing all GLP-1s.
Okay.
And I would say at that time, it was sort of the dichotomy was the consumer-facing company that prescribed inexpensive generic meds versus the consumer company that prescribed the fancy designer drug. Of course, the world has changed tremendously in the past few years because there's so many more companies doing various versions of these things.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Which it's like having the opportunity with the shortages to have compound and having people have more access to it has been, I think, like a blessing and a curse, because ultimately there are people that are taking advantage. And they're usually, I think, companies that are selling this without a prescription and without medical care, which we don't like. We are not for that because we think this is a disease and it deserves care and treatment,
Right.
So, yeah.
No doubt.
And I think you have to look at the circumstances under which a company popped up. I think if you see a company that came up right after the shortages were announced, just selling compounded GLP-1s, that's a very different business than somebody that started out as a comprehensive platform that works with employers, insurers, takes insurance. Those are different things.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
That's a big difference to look out for.
It's a big difference.
All right. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. We're talking about food now. I don't know what that. Yeah.
Winter time.
It's probably because I had just had some yogurt. Anyway, let's stay focused. Debunking these GLP-1 myths. I know that recently I saw was it a TikTok or it was on Instagram? A woman was chatting with her doctor. She said that she had lost bone mass and muscle mass. So
that was viral on TikTok. I don't know if you missed that. It's probably viral everywhere at this point.
Everywhere. Yeah. So one, how can this be avoided? Is Ozempic face or is just Ozempic or any GLP-1 eating your muscles? Is that a real thing? And what can we do if that's possible to prevent both the bone loss and the muscle loss?
Yeah. So from a medical perspective, the answer to the question, is Ozempic eating your muscles or bones? Absolutely not. To me, as a science person, that means, is there a direct mechanism by which this medicine is attacking your bones or muscles? The answer there is no. But do people lose some muscle mass and or bone mass while on these medicines? And the answer is yes. And I will say that people lose muscle mass and bone mass when on a weight loss journey. There's things we could do to mitigate those effects, but anytime somebody loses weight, whether it's through bariatric surgery, exercise, just a diet, medicine for weight, there will be some amount of muscle loss and likely some amount of bone mineral density loss. It's just the effect of having less mass on the body. But there are more extreme scenarios where people are taking these medicines either unsupervised or maybe inappropriately, where they don't actually have a healthy amount of fat mass to lose, and they might dig into more essential body stores sooner than somebody that needs the medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that tracks a lot. I think there are a lot of people that, and this is, and I would love to ask you this too a little bit more, but like that take this medicine. Like we have friends, for sure. I think we've all had this happen where we have someone that's struggling with weight, and a lot of weight to them may be 20 or 30 pounds, but that may not be a requirement that's met in terms of the BMI to take these medications. Right. But that being said, I will tell you, my mom has always struggled with weight, maybe 20 or 30 pounds, but nothing crazy. She was always very fit, very healthy, always ate great, all the things. And then when my dad got cancer and my sister got cancer, we went through a hard time in our family. Things changed for her, and she was eating a lot, and she just barely kind of met that BMI requirement. and started to take Ozempic, obviously under the care of an obesity specialist. And it helped her quite a bit. It worried me a little bit because I was like, she's just sort of borderline there. But ultimately, what these, and this is my understanding, and please tell me if I'm wrong, these medications have been studied on either an obese body or a type 2 diabetic body. We haven't tested them on bodies that don't meet those two requirements, right?
If you're talking about strict clinical trials, then yes, these medicines were tried and tested in patients with type 2 diabetes or class 2 and class 3 obesity.
Okay.
That being said, I think that considering the number of years that's passed, there's something to be said for real world evidence as well. So have clinical trials been done on, or has the drug been approved for PCOS, menopausal weight gain, post breast cancer therapy weight gain? No, not necessarily, but many of us have used these medicines in those patient populations with close supervision and great success. And so there are these cases that may not be the textbook type 2 diabetes or severe obesity, but we feel that it's a good tool to get somebody to be healthy again.
Yeah. So when you do those treatments, we aren't against them, by the way. We're for everybody. Just by the step, there's so many health benefits that can't be denied, and it's even less just about weight. I mean, I think Kat and I have had tremendous health benefits from this. So I think but I think there are some people that for menopausal, I think is a really big place, and they're talking about kind of like microdosing and things like that. Is that anything you can speak to? Because I know that that's happening, and I just want people to be aware of what it is. I'm a big your body, your choice person, but I do believe that everybody should have as much knowledge as possible when making a decision about your body. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I agree with your body, your choice. I think what's tricky here is that we're talking about a medication that requires a prescription, and we probably would sometimes say differently about using chemotherapy. Yes, we believe your body, your choice, but you so much rely on the opinion of a professional to say, oh, this is right for you, or this isn't right for you. Whereas today there's a lot of, well, I read it on Reddit, or I read it on TikTok, or saw it on TikTok, or I saw this longevity influencer who was microdosing tirzepatide, so I want to do it. That's not the way that medical care usually gets initiated. It's not usually patients asking for something. It's usually a clinician making a diagnosis and assessment and recommending a treatment. But literally, this drug has gone viral in all ways. And so people are asking for treatment that don't meet the criteria. At the same time, there's a growing body of real world evidence that it helps other things. And so I think doctors are in a weird situation where, yes, we want to say it's your body, your choice, but there's also risks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something for everybody to consider. But I think that the common narrative out there, and I will tell you, it drives me insane, but I don't know whether I don't know a way through it, but the media calling them the latest weight loss medications. First of all, they've been around a long time, right? But second of all, it bothers me because it sort of trivializes the fact that they're treating diseases, right? And dysfunctions and disorders. I think that, but ultimately that is how people understand it, in our society. They understand them as weight loss because when you go to the doctor, right, they don't go, let's look, they may go and do a blood panel, whatever, but at the end of the day, you walk in, you're a certain weight, and they go, you need to lose weight, right? That's been the common theme and the common trend for my entire life. I literally had a doctor walk into me before, and I'd never met her. I'm in my 20s. Now I've had obesity forever. But I was in my 20s, and I walked in, and I never met her. And the first thing she said to me, was, your weight's a concern. And when I was pregnant with my son and obese, the doctor came, I've never even met her. Doctor came in as a new OB. I needed to find one. And she said, my biggest concern is your weight, not how are you? Not let's talk about this. How long have you had obesity? Have you always been this big? Because it's not your fault. There are plenty of people that have, we're just going to watch it in this way. There was nothing like that. That did not exist. I hope that we'll get to where that does exist. But I just think that people need to understand, that these have only been tested in certain areas. And so if you're going to, my opinion, right, if you're going to leverage them in a way outside of where they've been studied in studies, which would be what we've talked about before on the show, was off-label, right? If you're going to take it off-label, it should be under the care of a clinician, right? It really should. It shouldn't
Absolutely.
be just if you, it's a red flag, I think, if you are going online and there is a Groupon and you can buy it and you have not filled out a questionnaire, you have not done anything about your health, and they just ship it to you. This is
that's pretty sketchy.
Yeah, sketchy AF. Like it's like, because this is not a supplement, right? This is a medication,
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Kat. I'm sorry.
Speaking of medications, the questions we get all the time about side effects, all the side effects in the land being cold, diarrhea, constipation. What are some ways that we can address it? And when should we get to the point to escalate it to a doctor?
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully when a medication is started, the possible side effects are reviewed by the prescriber, which obviously isn't happening these days because, like you both said, people are going on Groupon and just, signing up and it's arriving in the mail. But usually myself, my colleagues, we would let our patients know what the most likely side effects are so they are informed about what to expect, whether that's nausea, constipation, heartburn. So the most likely things to expect. And then when do you actually call a doctor? So things that we're concerned about are, pancreatitis, severe nausea, vomiting, and back pain. I say stop it immediately and let me know. So I would hope that patients are informed when they get the prescription of what the most likely side effects are. And I would say any concern should be brought to the clinician, even if the patient thinks that it's a standard side effect. What I've noticed with these medicines is people are willing to tolerate more because they're so hoping that it's going to work. Whereas with some of the older generation medicines, we would get a call, for very minor side effects like mild dizziness, mild change of taste. Whereas now people are tolerating a lot practically until they land in the ER because they have so much faith in the medicine because of what they've seen or what they've heard.
Yeah.
So in regards to mitigating side effects, I think clinicians only slowly increasing the dose, patients not increasing the dose on their own. And if they're having a side effect, not to continue to push the dose. So these stories you hear about like stomach paralysis and intestinal blockage, I can't say that I see that frequently or almost at all in the practice. And the reason for that is I would hope to hear from a patient before it reaches that level. So if somebody hasn't had a bowel movement for 3 days and that's not their norm, I would say, skip your next dose.
Yeah.
Take a laxative, give me an update every day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the whole idea, and I would like to share like that. I think there is a tremendous amount of mistrust with doctors for people who have obesity for those reasons I mentioned. Okay. Because that's a very commonplace. And so I think what happens is instead of going to their doctor and just like some, like y'all legitimately just send them a message in the portal. Like, you send them an email, like you just let them know, right? It's not what they do. They come to TikTok and they come to us, right? And this is where I wish there was some sort of certification that we could get to I don't know, be able to be.
I wish that people would come to you guys and not wherever else they're going.
Right. Well, the thing is like there are creators like us who spend weeks with doctors and asking these questions, right? And then there are creators that don't. And they say things they shouldn't say. And that happens a lot. But always we should be directing people back to you can say, what I do is enable them, right? Like I say, here's what I've heard from the doctors on the podcast. Here's an episode you can reference. Take this. And I want you to go to your doctor and ask them this, right? Like if someone says, I've got constipation, and I say, hey, like in my experience, it's proactive is the best way. If you know you have constipation where you have a stool softener, you're increasing your fiber, you're getting enough water. But before you do that, I don't know your health. I need you to talk to your doctor about this. So take what I'm saying to you and take it to them. I don't know if they do, right? But it would be great if they did, because that I think keeping that relationship and building that relationship with the doctor, I think is really important, because these can go sideways, if you will, especially as you go up in dose. Every dose is different. It really is. It's utterly bizarre, but it really is every dose. And I've taken all of them because I've been doing this since summer 2022. So I've been through all the shortages, right? And I've been through step therapy and all the things. So I've taken the obesity versions, the diabetic versions, just like whatever I can get my hands on, because that's what it was like. It was like wild, wild west,
Yeah. And we were prescribing these medicines off label in 2007.
Yeah.
Some people before that. So we've been doing this a long time, but I understand why patients might be reluctant to go to their doctor as the first place, because Kim, like you said, they've had not the greatest experiences with the healthcare system. Yes. So then by the time they bring the side effect to their clinician, they've already gone to TikTok and heard, oh, if I switch the injection to my leg from my tummy, I'm going to have less side effects. And they've had such negative interactions with the healthcare system that they're going elsewhere first.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is the trend. And I will tell you, I don't see it getting any better. So I think we have to work together. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's what's important is that Ozempic influencers, health advocates, whatever. Like, I do feel like we have to work together with the doctors, so that not just like I said, like, for example, that accountability piece, right? Like, this one I'm going to tell you, but I need you to go to talk to your doctor. And I tell them all the time, like, my big thing is I'll go, you are worthy of care. But they're also concerned you're going to take them off it. That's the other concern. They don't want to tell you because they've decided this is the last stitch effort. This is the last thing that'll help. They're desperate. They've tried everything, and they just know if they tell you that they're vomiting, that you're going to take them off it, right? Like, that's the perception, or that's what they say when they come into our lives to ask us these questions, So it's like, I very much think that we've got to find a way to where the influencers work with the doctors. You know what I mean? Whether we're like aligned, like, because I know they're influencers, the rep for different telehealths and stuff, but there's got to be a way where we're thinking about this big picture, and I think like that's what Kat and I have been trying to do. Right.
Yeah. And I think if you think of it like in the context of overall health, like the concept of an Ozempic influencer is so weird, right? So weird. Like, is there like a Lipitor influencer? Like, why would you be an influencer on like one drug? Like, if you only know one thing about one medicine, that's really not okay.
No, it's not. And that's the thing too, is like, what can I do is we have doctors on that talk about surgery as well. Like, so we're talking about surgery. We talk about other types of medicines for diabetes. And you want to know the biggest reason why we do that is because these medicines are so expensive and they're in so much scarcity, and a lot of our friends can't get them. Yeah. So if we can give them other solutions to help them, because maybe they have to be on, I don't know if you saw this, but they have to be on Lizzo because they can't afford Ozempic. Like,
I saw it.
Right? Like, I really want them. You have to admit that was
the South Park episode.
That was brilliant.
South Park episode. Yeah. But like, we want to make sure we're covering all these things, because there are a ton of people left out in the cold, because of the way that these are right now, like in our system,
Completely.
Yeah.
You mentioned that they'd been prescribed off label since about 2007. Was that just for, like, say, A1C or diabetes? And when did it start to bubble for obesity management? And I'm a big nerd about this. How did it just suddenly exponentially kind of blow up, even though it was already there and we'd already been prescribing it? What happened? In your
opinion, yeah, for sure.
So I think a few things happened. So way back, like early 2000s, before 2010, if anyone was prescribing off-label, it was Byetta or Victoza in the early days. Many people haven't even heard of these medicines, but they were the earlier generation GLP-1s. We were prescribing them for diabetes. It was obvious they caused weight loss. We would prescribe them off-label with no issues with insurance for patients with obesity that showed signs of insulin resistance. The first FDA-approved GLP-1 for weight loss was in 2014, and that was Saxenda. And I agree with you. Even though it was for obesity, it was a GLP-1. It definitely didn't reach the levels of popularity that Wegovy, Zepbound, Mounjaro, that all of the Ozempic that the new ones have. And I think it's a few things. Legitimately, the degree of weight loss on the newer meds is more, and it's more than we've seen on older weight
definitely
loss
fair.
medicine. So like
Mhm.
20% of body weight, when the average was more like 5 to 10%. That amount of weight loss just wasn't exciting enough for patients or doctors to prescribe a ton.
Yeah.
At the time, there was also still a lot of stigma. I don't think that there were celebrities and people like that stepping out and saying, oh, this is a good thing. Like there's still a dichotomy in how people view it, but there's enough people stepping out saying, hey, I do this and it's helped me versus, people hiding it, which I think that they were for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And also, like, I don't think social was that big. I mean, in a way, like, I mean, I know we had like Facebook and stuff, but it wasn't like we had exploded with Snapchat and TikTok and even IG. Like, I feel like it wasn't common to like, let's talk about something really vulnerable, which is our health. Right. And
right. I mean, if you did anything, it would have to be like an in-person support group.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, like that was sort of the diet thing for a long time, right? That's what Weight Watchers was sort of like built on, right? Is having these like in-person support groups where it was definitely, and people would come in and take off all their jewelry and weigh and like, like it was just ick. It was just ick, but digress. But that's what it was like. I mean, and it's always been the conversation very centered around weight as opposed to, I think, like you said, metabolic health, right?
Yeah. Did you guys see the SNL 50-year anniversary skit about the Weight Watchers meeting?
No, I missed that part. I didn't stay up late enough. I'm going to have to go find it. Oh my gosh.
How did you miss that, Kat? You're the queen of like all this
stuff.
I
know, pop culture stuff.
Okay, look it up. Look it up.
Okay, we'll do it. We'll have to do it. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. But I think like I'd say all the time, like just personal is that like I've PCOS, I struggled with fertility. I had 2 miscarriages before my son. I've always struggled with weight, as I mentioned to you. So I've been dealing with insulin resistance, obesity forever, but I went and got a lap band surgery in 2007. And not one person in that practice said to me, did you know you have a chronic disease? Now that was 2007. So maybe it wasn't recognized that way yet, but nobody ever said to me, I'm here in my 20s getting a lap band. You know what I mean? They were more like, it's cool. You can take it out. You're going to lose weight. It's going to be fine. Blah. Well, I did lose weight and I got pregnant really quickly. And then I had a miscarriage really quickly as well, So it's like, but nobody ever said to me, there's a disease, there's a dysfunction, there's this, it's not your fault. Never one time in my entire thing. And I keep thinking when I had finally had my miracle baby. So when I had 2 miscarriages and then I had him, and when I had him, that was 2012. And 2012, there was Victoza. Why didn't somebody say to me, would you like to try this? Like, you know what I mean? This could help you, but nobody did. And eventually I just quit going to the doctor. And guess what? My metabolic health just continued to decline. No matter what I did, I was always trying to control the size of my body and I did nothing. Like there's a tremendous amount of trauma that goes with that. You know what I mean? Like constantly feeling like you fail. And I say a lot of times, and I'll tell you, I have always had I'm sorry about the dog. She's just the way it is. I have had and it's been quite the, I think, transition on this podcast is that for me, because I've been dealing with this since childhood, Kat as well, like no matter how successful I have been, I have great friends. I have great family. I had a baller career. Like
and a loud dog.
Play, right? It never seemed like enough. Because I couldn't control my food. Yeah. And that's how I saw it. And it wasn't until the food noise turned off and I could control it that I was like, oh my God. Right? Like, oh my God, this was the thing. Why didn't somebody tell me in 2012? And so I hope that when we see people with PCOS, right, and they're in family planning mode, that they will ask those questions, right? Like, maybe I can try this. And now that we have Victoza, right, we've got a generic out of that now, right? So that's a huge deal. Like to be able, I mean, it's still expensive and stupid expensive.
I was just gonna say it's still really expensive.
Well, it's okay. It's more expensive than Lizzo prices, but I mean, at least it was a couple $100 a month, I think, is what we saw in Mark Cuban's pharmacy. But it's something, it's something, Go ahead. Sorry, Kat, I took your question.
Oh, just some dietary advice on proteins, fruits, vegetables. What do you recommend? Is it the notion of 30 grams of protein 3 times a day, and tools like the TDEE, I'm just kidding, calculator. What sort of tools do you recommend that we use?
If somebody is on a GLP-1, I would say to just lean protein forward, only because your appetite is diminished. And if you fill up on empty calories or sugar or carbs, you're not going to have room for the protein.
Totally.
For some people on a GLP-1, potentially petite women, 30 grams of protein 3 times a day might actually not be attainable because it is a lot. And some recommendations are even higher. And I think that's hard to do when appetite is suppressed.
Yes.
So I would say prioritize protein, but for people that are getting a lot of advice to overdo the protein, I'm seeing patients that are very constipated because they're not getting in fiber or vegetables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So although protein's important, I would still encourage balance in each meal. So protein, vegetables, and hydration. I think that's the other thing we're seeing is that when appetite is diminished, people are forgetting to drink water. Actually, we're seeing people go into kidney failure that are really dehydrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard that before in other episodes. Definitely make sure that you're drinking your water.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're not thirsty, just
Why
drink.
is that? Why would it make someone go into kidney failure, like not drinking enough water, not drinking enough fluid? Because this is really important and I struggle with this. So like what you got?
Yeah. So, I mean, you'd have to really be dehydrated. So
Put it in your Prince cup, Kim.
like reduced appetite, perhaps your thirst mechanism isn't working. Plus, if you're nauseous and you're vomiting or have diarrhea, you're just losing a lot of fluid and not replenishing.
Yeah, that's a good point. And like, what about diarrhea? So like, we've had people ask about that all the time. And we had a doctor on one time that actually said that fiber can help with diarrhea. Is that right?
It depends on the kind of fiber.
Okay.
So there's different types of fiber. And if you're wanting to bulk up the stool, then there's types of fiber there. But also for people that are constipated, we would also recommend fiber to keep things moving.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I for sure am a fiber person. I have to, but I can't eat enough. Who can eat enough fiber? It's insane how much you have to eat. I have to do the supplement. I'll never get it in. I never get it in.
I think in America it's hard, but I think where in other countries where it's just naturally in the food because the food's less processed, it doesn't have to be so intentional and deliberate.
Yes. Like I don't know if you haven't read this book, it's worth reading, but it's by Johann Hari, and it's called Magic Pill.
No, but I'll read it.
Okay. So he sent it, or his people, whatever, reached out to me because, to be like, read this and do whatever. And I was like, no, I hated the title. I was like, I don't like any more fear. I'm tired of all the fear, blah, blah, blah. Well, it was a hook. It was just a hook. The title's just a hook. It's a great book. It's really good. And he travels all around the world and he interviews all of these doctors and scientists. He interviews people with obesity. He talks about his own personal journey with obesity. He also it is evident in the beginning that the food is a villain. But when you listen, I'm going to have you message me when you read that and you get to the last chapter where they talk about Japan. I can't wait. Read it because there's some crazy stuff there. But ultimately the food is, I think, a villain in a way, right? I think, but I do feel like all doctors have kind of different takes on it, right? Like, obviously our food is a problem in this country. I don't think that we should just abandon the people that have been broken by it, right? And not give them medicine and take all of that money and put it towards fixing the food, but it clearly is something that needs to be addressed. Like, we hope to have more people on the podcast to be able to talk about that because it is a thing. And it's hard sometimes, people on this journey, because of the way we put it on ourselves, right? So like it being like our fault, it's hard for us to be like, maybe the food's a thing. Because Kat and I are moderation people. We like to eat, like I tell people all the time, I can't be your coach. I eat meatball sandwiches. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just eat them once a month and I eat half.
I make them with devotion protein powder and lamb and ground chicken. You just have the recipe that I made.
Dang, I know. That looks so good.
I gotta stay at my house. I'll make it lean for you.
Yeah.
I just still like it.
I would eat that. Kat. That looked good as hell. Kat is a really good cook. Like, and she's big at like finding ways to optimize protein, like in something, like whether it's using cottage cheese or like whatever. And so her videos are so good. So we've been putting them on the show lately, but I think like stuff like that, like I think that it can be looked as kind of like this villain, right? But ultimately people are sick, right? And I think that this is just such a good way for us to be able to like get healthy. And like, I'm curious too, see, we're just going to go into it now. You talked about the food, but I'm curious too, like with the Treat and Reduce Obesity Act. So the podcast, my husband and I, even my son, my 12-year-old son, went to the Senate committee hearing. And we went when the CEO of Novo Nordisk was testifying as to why Ozempic costs so much in this country. And it was very interesting. But I thought the beginning part of what Bernie says, hate Bernie, love Bernie, whatevs, what he said was very much talking about how obesity turns into these horrible things that is a massive drain on our country and resources, right? So the fact that they were talking about it that way was very good. Like I thought, like that we have our leaders speaking in this way, but I can see where if we don't address it, it's going to bankrupt us, like the richest country, right? Like I can see that we have to find a way to do that. And if it's this, and this is the thing that we have, that we've got to find a way to make it more affordable and accessible, But do you know anything about that? I love your take.
On the Treat and Reduce Obesity Act, or yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I obviously believe in it in principle, but realistically speaking, what would it cost the federal government if they covered the medicine for everyone that qualifies for it? The number is like trillions.
Yeah. And it is. And that's so true. And then it's like, okay, well, how would we compensate for that elsewhere? You know what I mean? And I think that's sort of the question. But ultimately, why does it cost so much money? Because we're talking about the list price of what we're paying here, right? And I think they said like the break even was like for Ozempic, it was gonna be like $200 or $300. Like that's all they could pay, right? But ultimately, people are paying way less than that all over the world.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation. I know, but it's crazy, right? Like it's something that like it comes up a lot. And I think that we're seeing more and more issues with like insurance covering these even than before. Like we just heard this morning on one of my lives, or it was yesterday, one of my lives, some of the people said, I'm like concerned because my insurance is saying that they will only cover 1 month of 0.5 something, right? So if they're on zepbound and they take 2.5 or they take 7.5, if that's their sweet spot, right? 7.5, it doesn't matter. They're only allowing them and will only cover it for 1 month. And then they push them to the other doses. Have you heard this?
Yeah.
What's crap?
I mean, I think part of it is that only certain doses are FDA approved as maintenance doses. And so then insurance is forcing people to go up. There's scenarios where if somebody can't tolerate a dose increase, they're saying that they should stop the drug altogether, which to me sounds really weird. If you're doing great on a lower dose, shouldn't you be able to continue it if your doctor wants you to? But I mean, I'm sure that people will do whatever to control costs and get people off the drugs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so true. And like when this happens, like if someone's just for those exact like reasons, what is a step for our people to do? Is it to get with their doctor and have them go from an appeal perspective and try to appeal it? And is that ever successful?
Absolutely.
Really?
I would say it is often successful if you are asking your doctor to write a letter to say you don't tolerate, you've tried a dose increase, you had nausea and vomiting, if that's what happened. But if you completely stop the medicine, you'll regain all the weight and perhaps need to have surgery or, cost the system more money versus if you could just stay on the dose that works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really cool. Like I want to make sure that we tell people about that because I don't think they're doing that. Now, I also do think that like when it comes to if people are getting this through their primary care, a lot of them don't know any of this. So if we can enable them, like if this is the letter your doctor needs to write, or your doctor needs to get on the phone with the insurance company and say blank, blank, and blank, like then is there certain wording or something that our people need to use? Because sometimes we have to educate our doctors. Like it sounds weird, but you know what I mean? Like about like what we've heard about, because we're in the wild, right? Like we're in the wild. So we can tell them like, this is what we've heard. Because I think a lot of PCPs we're still hearing have no idea.
I think that, clinicians should be encouraged to write like templated letters that they then adjust for each patient based on their unique case. But
that's great. Yeah.
The only thing insurance companies care about is the cost. So I would actually encourage clinicians to put that into the letter. If you stop covering this in the future, it's going to cost you $30,000 to cover surgery or whatever, what is the cost of somebody with diabetes in the long term?
Yeah.
So I would like throw the numbers into there.
Yeah, I love that. And then also I think in general, from what I understand in terms of the payment, the doses are all priced the same, I think, for the
Yeah.
most part. So it's like, if you might as well give them what works for them, that they're going to be successful. So it's weird though, because like, it does feel like these PBMs are practicing medicine. Right. And it's like, so I think that a way to combat that, like you're saying, is make sure your doctor has like this type of next step. Don't just take it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Appeal and exhaust all the pills that you can.
I've also had patients like provide me their detailed weight history and a letter that I send with my letter
Nice.
because the patient's going to be able to document their journey in more detail.
Yeah.
So sometimes I include that.
That's fantastic. I love that. All right,
Good
guys,
idea.
actionable steps today if you're having this problem. Okay. All right, go ahead, Kat. Sorry.
Yeah, incorporate the cost in those appeal letters. That's a good,
Mhm.
that's a really great idea. All right, so my favorite part, let's incorporate fitness, or let's talk about fitness. I like to get sweaty. Not everybody does, but I do enjoy it too. How would you suggest our listeners incorporate fitness into their weight training, especially those who they don't like to work out? Also, I was actually talking with a friend of mine, and she said, I'm going to lose all this weight, and then I'm going to start working out. So let's talk about like, how do we incorporate fitness in the GLP-1 journey? And is that idea of, I'm going to wait until I lose all my weight and then start fitness?
Yeah.
Is that a good idea?
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. So maybe I'll answer the second question first on losing all of the weight, then starting your fitness journey. I actually don't recommend that because you would have already lost the muscle and your metabolism would have slowed if you're waiting to lose all of the weight. I do understand the psychology of, let me just put a dent in the weight so I know this is working, and then I'll have the confidence to start exercising. But I think that's different than waiting until you lose all of the weight. One of the reasons to start early on is to maintain a metabolic rate that's healthy, because if you start exercising and weightlifting early on in the journey, you'll maintain a higher metabolism than if you don't. And then in terms of how do you actually incorporate it, I would remind people that anything's better than nothing, and you don't have to go to a gym for it to count as exercise. I think just walking, taking the stairs, if you don't want to do any of it, I think adding the weighted vest, I know that's like very trendy right now, and I actually think that if there's any distance you walk a day, adding that 5 to 10% of body weight through a weighted vest is an easy way to do it.
Interesting.
I've been thinking about trying that. I'm like, I wonder if that's going to work.
Yeah.
Maybe somehow like it makes
What I heard is we need to get weighted vest sponsors for the podcast. That's what I heard. That's really interesting. I will tell you, I think that there is a lot of, I wish that I had had more guidance in the beginning. Another reason why I started the podcast, because I wish that there had been like someone that had said, hey, you could just do up and down the stairs, right? You could just do resistance bands. You could like just these things to get started, because my butt is not what it used to be, my friend. Like, it's just not the way, the bubble is gone. It's not there. It's saggy, And I think that I wish that as someone had said to me, like, just movement in general. The only thing I'll say is that one thing I feel like I did differently this time is I sort of had these like micro wins. So I was 350 pounds. I really could not move, and I had injured my back, and I had gotten my, the things where I can't remember what it's called now, radio frequency ablation. And I was just starting to like hit it back. And I was just like, I'm going to keep up with my laundry. I'm going to keep up with my dishes. Like, I'm not going to let them stack up. So every day that was part of my movement. And that might've been 5 minutes. Well, I mean, I was quite large, so it was probably more like 15 minutes. Right. But I was moving. Right. And that was just, I think, little things that you can do. You don't have to run to the gym and diet culture the shit out of this. Like, you can take it easy. You can do resistance training at home. You can have a little kettlebell at your desk. And like, you don't have to do all those things. But something that the doctors have told us is that exercise doesn't treat obesity, but it is very good for your body. And so it's something that you should do because of that, not to pay for what you ate, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think exercise is like the path to weight loss, but it is a path to keeping your body healthy along a weight journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. And strength training, like when you were kind of going back to like muscle loss, right? So is strength training, like doing resistance bands or whatever it is that a way to prevent having too much muscle loss?
Oh, absolutely. I think resistance bands are great. And I also think focusing on big muscle groups is like, in my mind, even a way, it's like a easy way. It's like a hack to get the most bang out of your buck. So for example, if you think about muscles like glutes or quads or core, you get a lot out of working those muscles. So like banded squats or things like that, if you work those big muscle groups and you have like big, strong glutes and big, strong quads, your metabolic rate's going to be higher. So this idea that you should like tone and chisel with these like tiny little weights, I don't, that's great for you, but I actually think working big muscle groups is really important to prevent slowing of metabolism and losing muscle.
Let me tell you a quick story. I was telling Kat how I was regaining weight after my 100-pound loss using GLP-1 medications, and I was having snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. and I had hot flashes, and I was worried. But Kat was like, listen, I went through this last year. It's perimenopause, and I started HRT, and she used this company called Winona. So I started going there to see if this was something that was going with me. Turns out it was, because I'm 46. And it's been amazing. It's taken a while to find the right dose, but once I did, it's just been huge. I've been sleeping. I feel more myself again. And the hot flashes are gone, which is really bad. So I will tell you, it's just been so big for me. And so I wanted to partner with them on the podcast because obviously many of our listeners are going through this same age range and definitely are having these issues. And there's just no need for you to suffer. So if you go to the link that's in our link tree, you can click on that and save money. If you go there and you meet all the criteria, and this might be something for you to try. So I just want to make sure you have this great resource because it's just been such a big difference for me and Kat. Again, you can go to the link in our link tree and get what you need. Today's episode is brought to you by Ro, a telehealth platform that's changing the game of GLP-1 access. What sets Ro apart? Ro understands the challenges of navigating insurance hurdles and the skyrocketing prices of GLP-1 medications. That's why they specialize in getting insurance approvals for GLP-1s. And if insurance is a barrier, they go a step further by prescribing brand name zepbound vials for prices close to those of compound GLP-1s. With Ro, you're not just getting a prescription, you're getting a partner in your journey that's helping you access affordable treatment and guiding you every step of the way. Whether it's insurance approvals or cost-effective alternatives, Ro is here to make sure that you get the medication you need. Visit ro.co/plussides with a Z today to see how they can help you take control of your weight management journey with affordable, accessible care. That's ro.co/plussides with a Z, making healthcare work for you. Check out the link in our show notes for more details. Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.